A very good evening to all of you, and welcome to this week's presentation, the weekly market presentation of SC Securities. I'll start talking about the market performance, and then we'll move on to discuss some of the key economic highlights for this week. And then, of course, we are looking ahead and looking at the global commodity market front and the international financial market aspects as well. So, starting from the market performance for this week, the Colombo Stock Exchange reported a strong upsurge throughout the week, and as you can clearly see on the screen, it filled with green and remained back at the positive territory. So, the positive momentum could have been witnessed throughout the week, starting from the Monday trading session onwards. So, with the very beginning of this week, we could have seen that the SPI and altogether with S&P SL 20 index gone for a couple of rallies, and hotel sector also had a rally this week with some of the expectations regarding the recovery in tourism sector with the re-establishment of political certainty in Sri Lanka. So, apart from that, some hopes and talks regarding the IMF deal also positively impacted on market to had a run, and that could have been witnessed throughout the week. And apart from that, the increased foreign participation could have been witnessed, and we could have seen a majority of the buying and selling were happening throughout the week. And the fuel price revision also benefited LIOC to continue its run. So, with all of these reasons, market had insulated a great positivity, and local investors remained to be bullish. So, if we have a look at the Monday's trading session, the SPI ended up gaining 37 points to close at 7,768.57. But S&P as a 20 index had a slight decline of 3 points to close at 2,445.09. And the bullish momentum was continued throughout the week. So, when it comes to the last trading day for the week during Friday's trading session, again, SPI gained 104 points to close for the week at 8,333.37, altogether with S&P SR 20 index gaining 50 points to close at 2,728.14. So, if we have look at the overall performance of both the indices throughout the week, SPI gained 7.79% and S&P SL 20 index also gained 11.43%. So, if we have a look at the turnover levels, starting from just 1.8 billion reported during Monday's trading session, it has gradually picked up to report a value of 3.7 billion by the end of the week, and market managed to surpass the 2 billion turnover level after almost like 2 months, and that was basically aided by the foreign participation as well. But anyhow, foreigners exited from the market with a net outflow of 475 million for the week, as foreign sales somewhat picked up. So, with all of these things and all of these circumstances, market reported kind of a great positivity, and we would like to expect this kind of a trend in the upcoming weeks as well. But for that, the country's political situation and altogether the talks and the actions regarding restoring economic stability will be a vital factor. So, moving on to the economic highlights for this week, I'd like to bring upon some of the points that the president has made at its ceremonial opening at its inaugural speech held at the parliament last Wednesday. So, the eighth executive president of Sri Lanka, Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe, had its inaugural speech at the parliament as of its third session of the ninth parliament. So, in his speech, apart from the vast array of facts that he delivered upon the social and other sort of aspects, we have picked up some of the economically important areas to discuss today. So, the president has invited all parties to form a all-party government with the idea of establishing political stability in the country, which is a key factor and an important factor in arriving the IMF deal. And the government is expected to reach the staff level agreement by the end of this month, end of August. And the government is also expected to resume debt structuring talks with our foreign creditors, especially the countries like China. So at his speech, he also mentioned that the gas issue, which is right now prevailing in the country, will be immediately solved, and with that the crisis of that has been caused due to medicine shortage and fertilizer crisis will also be solved up to an extent. At his speech, he also mentioned that the fuel shortage will not be solved at an immediate way, but it will persist for at least till the end of this year. And the interim government is planning to present its interim budget in the uh, upcoming month, the very first week of the month, September. And the government is planning to establish a 25-year economic policy which addresses a majority of the areas, including foreign policy and the export policy, like covering vast areas. And the government, as of the speech of the president, the government intends to develop Sri Lanka as an export-centric nation, apart from our years of dependency on imports. So, if we have a little talk about the exports, Sri Lanka's merchandise exports said to have rose by 20% year on year to report a value of over 1.2 billion for the month ended June, and the said amount was basically attributable to the notable exports pickup in textile and apparel sectors, rubber and tea-based products, and some of the food categories. So, with these figures, the trade account reported a surplus after a long time for the first time for the month ended June. So that's kind of a positive thing for Sri Lanka, reporting a surplus in the trade account. But on the other hand, we have to remind one thing, that is after controlling majority of the essential imports to Sri Lanka. So our country should focus on improving and expanding our export basket. At the same time, the required imports should be flowed back to Sri Lanka. Otherwise, there is no point of having that kind of a limited or restricted surplus. So looking at the treasury yields for this week, again for another straight session, treasury yields decline. As you can see, the 3-month yield currently stand at 27.72%. 6-month yield is now at 28.97%, and 12-month yield at 29.19%. Looking at the spot rates, the US dollar, when it compared to Sri Lanka rupee, it remains somewhat stagnated, remain at the same level. And there was a slight appreciation when it comes to rupee in compared to Great Britain pounds, but when it comes to euro and Japanese yen, Sri Lanka rupee represented or resulted some kind of a decline or depreciation throughout the week. And looking at the international commodity markets and the financial markets, oil headed for a weekly decline that was due to anticipated decline in demand, but it headed for some kind of a slight appreciation during Friday's trading session. That was because of the concerns over supply shortages. And apart from that, the gold reported a significant gain throughout the week, and that was basically due to the renewed tensions between US and China, and also the expectations of majority investors regarding the possible recession in America raised gold's appeal as a safe haven. That was the basic reason. So for the week, copper and aluminium prices too resulted a decline. When it comes to global financial markets, majority of the global stocks ended up with sharp gains. That was basically due to the strong corporate earnings and with the declining expectations for hefty rate hikes by the Federal Reserve and altogether with the other central bank across the globe. But anyhow, very recently, the Bank of England and also the Bank of India to lead for another rate hike in order to control the high inflation. And apart from that, there was uh, the Nancy Pelosi of the Speaker of U.S. House of Representatives' sudden visit had to China became a reason for an increased tensions between China and U.S. back. Now China is continuing its threatening military exercises in 6 zones of Taiwan's coast until this Sunday, as they have already announced. As a reply to these military exercises, US has already sent its biggest military ship to Taiwan coast. So we, the investors, we altogether, we people had some kind of a problem in our mind. Thus, the world is heading for another war, just like what is now happening between Ukraine and Russia. So, despite all these factors, the tensions between Russia and China, the majority stocks, majority of the markets ended up with gain. But anyhow, China, if we have a look at the Chinese stock market, the Shanghai stock market led to some kind of a decline over these worries. But Chinese chip makers, anyhow, gained a sharp gain or sharp profits during the week. That was because due to the Pass of Chips and Science Act by US Senate, as their intention was to better compete with China. So with all these facts, that's what I got to share with you all from my end. And from here onwards, Harin will continue the presentation.
Thank you, Sachini. So let's look at US oil. What has happened during the past few days? As we can see, the price has initially come below the psychological area of $100 per barrel, and also it has a breakout from the previous daily support level, 92 $94 per barrel. And looking it from the technical perspective, and also looking at current market fluctuation, we can clearly see that there was a significant breakout and the price is trading below the daily resistance 92 94. So the next support level is at 83 85 key level. The RSI comes to a mid range of still in the 30s range, in between 30s and 30 to 40 range. So we can clearly see how this declining momentum has been causing in oil price, and slightly we can clearly see the price is actually declining over the period. So the daily support 83 85 could be tested if the price sustains below the daily resistance 92 94, and this will be recorded as a significant low. Since, as we can see, the daily candle opened at around 88.03 US dollars per barrel and made a high of 90.75, and the lowest is 87.03 days low, intraday low, which is actually the market is still active and still trading at 88.43 and fluctuating at the moment. So if it remains below the key level of daily resistance 92 94, definitely the daily support level 83 85 could be tested, as it is also below the psychological area of 100. If price manages to come above the daily resistance and make it the initial support level, then we'll be able to expect it reaching the psychological area of 100 US dollars per barrel. So at the moment we have a descending trend. So as we at moving averages, we can clearly see previously we had a crossover which indicated us a decline momentum, and still the price is actually trading below both the moving averages. And even if we are to have a bullish momentum, we need to see the price moving upwards above the daily resistance 92 92, 94, and price moving above the moving averages, 18 and 8 moving averages, we could actually uh, indicate a positive momentum for us to see the price reaching daily resistance 100, that key level. So let's look at our Ocean index, which is SPI. So looking at it, what we can clearly see is previously, as we discussed, as I mentioned previously, we had a um, declining momentum, and then we had a my retest where the price actually broke the previous day resistance of 7457 500, that key level. The index managed to make a high formation, a higher low, and driving now it's driving its way towards the daily resistance 80, towards the 8,450 8,500 range. And also it would it could actually test the 100 EMA, and we might at that moment we might be able to see some sort of a rejections happening. So when we know, we clearly know whenever the price in of a specific stock or index actually touches a moving average, there could be certain pullbacks and there could be certain breakouts. So at the moment, since from starting from, I would say, July 27th to end of July, we were able to see that the index moving um, upwards, and we have good a level of bullish candles over here, and the daily resistance 8,450 8,500 could be tested, and from a breakout from that key level would significantly take the index to the daily resistance of 9,000, that psychological area. So that could initially happen if the index manages to cross over the 100 EMA. So here we might be able to see some sort of a consolidation or some sort of a pullback again. So consolidation could happen in between the prior level of daily support 7,950 to 8,500. That key area could be a significant consolidation area. And so since the main reason that I would say that it could have a sort of consolidation area, because or higher low formation occurring at these uh, key level, the range would be because we have a higher high over here, significantly prices moving towards the daily resistance, and the higher low formation is actually missing. So there could be a minor pullback before making its way above the daily resistance 8,500 and also the 100 moving average. RSI comes to a very high overbought key level right now, which is 75, which is actually above 70s range. So be cautious when it comes to when looking at the ASP and when it comes to trading a bit, as we could expect a higher low formation anytime soon. Our topic of the week would be Melstar. So I have taken Melstar and will be analyzing it through the weekly chart. The one reason that I'm analyzing it through week chart is there's enough, so there's liquidity that we can clearly see, and the candlesticks are appropriate, since it is easy for us to actually look at the price movements. And the RSI key level comes to at around 50.12, which is in the actually in the mid range. And the price seems to get rejected from the 44-46 key area, which we have a weaker resistance over there. Previously, the price was actually consolidating and ranging a bit in between the weekly support level 34 to 46, that weekly resistance. Now that we had a clear rejections over the 44-46, we need to wait till this weekly candle. That means this as of which is as of 5th August. We need to actually wait till this candlestick higher, this high formation that we have made, which is actually 46.5. We need to wait till that price movement breaks and then test the psychological area or the price level of 50 rupees per share. So soon as it is above the weekly resistance 44-46, we'll be able to expect it reaching the 50 level. So in my assumption, we would say it would reach the 50 level after a clear breakout above the weekly resistance, and then we might be able to see a minor pullback for a making this weekly resistance initially support level. Then we'll be able to expect it moving towards the weekly resistance of 54-56 and going forward. So at the moment, we are in a weekly resistance area. The reason that we are in a weekly resistance, and we have a small rejection, and the significant high that price couldn't actually maintain its prior like key level above the 44 46 area, was that due to the 50 EMA, that the price actually got rejected from. So we have clear rejection from the 50 EMA, but as we had 18 and 8 moving averages, which is short term, quite short term. So this indicates us the price is actually trading above 8 and 18 EMA, and we might be able to see some sort of a crossover. So breaking this weekly resistance, and soon as the price actually trades above the 50 EMA, we'll be able to expect the price moving towards the psychological area of 50 rupees per share, and going forward, weekly resistance 54, 56. If the price fails continuously, if the price fails to remain or break above the weekly resistance, then we might be able to see a similar consolidation happening again, which actually happened in between March to July. So we were able to see some sort of consolidation happening, false breakout over here in the month of April, and this could actually happen if the price fails to break the weekly resistance and go forward towards the price level of 50. I hope you'll enjoy the video. Please do like and subscribe to the video. Have a great weekend. Thank you very much.